Alright, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys, even though it's not a bodybuilding story, I wanted to start off with this because I feel like this is probably the most significant, even peripherally relevant story today and this week, and that is the passing of pro wrestling legend and WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan, who passed away today at the age of 71 in his home due to cardiac arrest. Now, I wanted to include this because obviously I think Hulk Hogan was a big part of a lot of people's childhoods, and I think inspired a lot of people to start working out, similarly to a lot of bodybuilders. Now, I know that Hulk had a very controversial last 10 years of his life, but I think for myself, and probably like a lot of you guys grew up watching wrestling and maybe even got back into it recently. I got back into it the last couple of years because WWE is like everywhere now. And I think it's pretty much undeniable that Hulk played a massive role in wrestling becoming what it is today. And maybe we wouldn't even be talking about WWE or wrestling at all if it weren't for what Hulk Hogan did in the 80s and the 90s. And I think that maybe for some people it's hard to separate Terry Bollea, the person, from Hulk Hogan, the character. But I think when you're talking about Hulk Hogan, the character, there's really nothing and nobody really more iconic and symbolic of what pro wrestling is, was, and has become. And I thought this would be a good time. I think people in the comments should share your favorite memory or moment, or maybe you got to meet Hulk Hogan, something like that, in the comments down below. I'll share mine with you guys because last year I actually randomly decided to go to this release party for Hulk Hogan's Real American Beer Company. I had never seen Hulk Hogan in person before. I had never met him prior. That was the first time I'd ever seen him in person. I just randomly had decided to go to this grocery store that was having a release party for his beer, and this was August of last year, so almost exactly a year ago, a little bit less than that. And this is the video of us waiting in line, and the line actually got cut off, so we didn't get the opportunity to actually meet him or take a picture with him or anything, but we were there for a few hours watching other people meet him and take pictures. And actually this recent 4th of July, I actually had a couple cases of his beer. I had kind of a party at my house with my friends, and I had a couple cases of his beer here for 4th of July. So I thought it would be interesting, and I'm looking forward to reading some of your guys' memories or moments or stories about Hulk Hogan, because like I said, I feel like very similar to bodybuilding, Hulk Hogan was that figure for a lot of people that maybe started people's interest in working out. I mean, he had his own gimmick around his 24-inch biceps, his 24-inch pythons. And I'm sure for a lot of people's childhoods, they probably saw Hulk Hogan before they saw somebody like Arnold Schwarzenegger or whoever inspired them on the bodybuilding side. So let me know in the comments down below. Now, next up in the news, I think this is really interesting. So this weekend, on July 26th, Hafthor Bjornsson will be attempting to break his own world record, the controversial 501-kilo deadlift. Now, he's going to be doing this in Germany. There will be a live stream. So it is www.blackcompetition.de. That's where you're going to be able to watch this if you're interested in seeing. It's going to be in an actual competition setting. This was one of the big reasons why his initial 501 kg deadlift that broke Eddie Hall's record by 1 kilogram. Eddie Hall had the 500 kg deadlift. Thor beat it by 1. But I think that really the root of that controversy was the fact that it was done in Thor's home gym, not in a competition. The plates were weighed by his own dad. There was a lot of controversy around that, and it seemed like it was giving him kind of a home field advantage. So this will actually be done in a competition, and I'm actually really looking forward to it. I mean, for me, it's kind of crazy looking back that it's already been half a decade since he did the 501 kg deadlift back in 2020. And honestly, it's kind of nostalgic for me looking back. It's already been that long, which is crazy, but looking back at that era of COVID, where there was really nothing going on, you couldn't go anywhere, you couldn't really do anything, and then everybody was looking forward to this live stream of Thor breaking the deadlift world record, even though it was streamed from his home gym, all that controversial stuff aside. I'm actually kind of really nostalgic for that era of COVID where that was like the one thing that everybody was really looking forward to. And it was early in COVID, too. It was May of 2020, so a lot of the bodybuilding competitions were shut down. The Arnold had just gotten shut down that year in March. We didn't even know if there was going to be an Olympia. We didn't know if things were going to be opening back up. It was a really strange time. And Thor's deadlift world record attempt is one of the big things that really stands out to me when I think back to that period of time, because, like I said, there was really nothing going on, and that was something I can remember sitting around waiting for to watch that live stream. It was like one of the very few exciting things that we had in strength sports or bodybuilding to look forward to. And I know that Thor gets a lot of hate for that 501 kg deadlift with the controversial circumstances that surround it that I mentioned earlier. But for me, it was a positive thing. It's kind of a positive memory that I have of that period of COVID. So for that reason, I'm excited to see whether or not he's going to be able to break his own record, which some people actually don't consider it to be the real record. There's a lot of like hardcore strongman fans and just hardcore fans in general that still believe Eddie's record is the real record. And I think the fact that he's doing 505, if he does actually get it, it's done in competition. It's not just 1 kilo over Eddie's record. It's 5 kilos, which is significant. And 505 kilos would be 1,113.33 pounds to be exact. So I feel like if he does this, if he successfully does this, it puts that narrative to rest that his 501 was illegitimate. And I think this would really secure him that spot in a much more uncontroversial way. Now, do I think he's actually going to do it? I saw a recent post that he put up where he said he's weighing 200 kilos, so 440.9 pounds, so about 441 pounds, which is also insane to me that he's been able to put that much weight back on, because if you guys remember, when he lost all that weight to box Eddie Hall, how small he got, how much he lost, like over, like 150 pounds or something crazy like that. So for him to be back up to 440 to me is just insane. So he's got the size back according to this update. And he also posted a side-by-side video of him lifting 470 kilos, deadlifting 470 in 2020 versus him deadlifting 480 kilos this year in 2025. And not only does it seem to move at about the same pace, you could argue the 480, which is 10 kilos heavier, is almost moving faster than the 470. So he certainly seems to be on track, even just based on that comparison. But I think my point is I'm excited for this. I hope he's able to do it. I'm rooting for him. I think unlike maybe a lot of people, it seems like he's very, when it comes to the deadlift record specifically, it seems like he's very kind of disliked in those circles when it comes to the deadlift. And I feel like there's probably a good percentage of people that are not rooting for him here. And I think there's probably a good percentage of people that prefer Eddie Hall and his record. I'm actually rooting for him here. I'm excited for this. And I think records getting broken is always a good thing because it's constantly raising the bar every time that a record is broken. It raises the bar for the next guy to come along, and it just kind of ups that threshold for crazier and crazier stuff to happen in the sport. And I think it's a good thing overall. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think Thor is going to break the record? Yes or no? Why or why not? And what are your thoughts on the 2020 record, the 501 kgs? Do you recognize that as the legitimate record, or are you in the camp of people that views that as a controversial one and you count Eddie Hall's lift? And if he does get the 505 kilos in competition, would you then recognize that as the legitimate new world record? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, next up in the news, the latest physique update from Beef Stew going into the Tampa Pro. Now, I talked to Stu last night, and he's very confident going into this show, and he's very confident about the condition that he's bringing. And I think that you can see that in this update, the type of shape that he's in. Very lean, very conditioned, very dry, and he's very confident going into the show that he's going to win. Now, I am a little biased here in the sense that Stu's my boy, and I want to see him win. I want to see him on the Olympia stage. But removing that bias, I legitimately think he looks incredible in these updates. Conditioning-wise, when I look at Quint Beastwood, he's probably my favorite guy in terms of structure and size in this lineup. But conditioning-wise, I don't think he looks to be where Stu is at. And you've also got, so you've got Stu, you've got Justin Shire, you've got Justin Savoy, Bruno Santos, Joseph Palacios, Emir Omaragic, Patrick Moore, Anthony Gell, Quint Beastwood, John De La Rosa. It's going to be a really pretty decent lineup. Even though the official competitor list hasn't come out, I'm looking at some of the updates that I'm seeing, and I haven't seen anything really recent from Emir. I haven't seen anything super recent from Patrick Moore in terms of like an actual physique update. We did see him compete at the Legion, where he was top 2 there. He beat Bruno Santos. We just saw Bruno Santos on stage, where Bruno actually beat Nathan Diasha. John De La Rosa is always a threat. But from what I'm seeing right now from Stu, conditioning-wise, and looking at the names that I know are doing the show so far, I have Stu in my top 3. Now, I was also looking at this recent posing video from Quint Beastwood, Quint Naraya, who's also doing this show. And like I said, as far as structure and shape and just a big, muscular, tall guy in this lineup, I think he's got an incredible physique. And I think from the front especially, he's very strong from the front. Now, what I noticed in this video and a lot of his other physique updates, he doesn't turn around from the back. He hits almost every front pose and some side poses in this video, but he doesn't turn around from the back. And some of the updates that I looked at where he does turn around, he looks a little bit softer from the back in the glutes, and then in his actual upper back, you don't see as much detail, as much density. That's kind of my concern. And we just looked at some updates from Beef Stew only from the back, where he looks incredibly detailed, incredibly conditioned, big, wide, and dangerous. And I think that's something to consider going into this, because Quentin, to me, he's kind of my front runner if he's in shape. Despite the back, if he's in shape, I think he can overcome even maybe having those lagging points from the back, because he's so strong in a lot of the other poses, and he's got such a great structure. But if he's a little bit off, I think you would give Stu both of those back poses, and then maybe if Stu comes in really conditioned, he might take some of the other poses and be able to overtake somebody like Quentin. And that's why I legitimately think that Stu is very dangerous here. And then, like I said, some of these other guys like Patrick Moore, he brought a great look to that Legion show, but honestly, he's been inconsistent. That was a far cry from how he looked. I believe it was at the Cali Pro prior to that. It was two very different looks, and he has been inconsistent. So even though he brought a much better look to Legion, we don't know that he's going to be able to do that again here at the Tampa show. So I'm a little bit more hesitant to say Patrick is a front runner, even though he had a very impressive Legion showing, because he's got to kind of prove that consistency a little bit still. And this picture that I'm showing here is really the only recent thing that I've seen from Patrick. I looked at his story earlier, and I've been looking at his story the past few days just to see. I haven't seen any full physique updates. This tricep shot on the leg press machine is really all I've seen. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What are your predictions for next weekend's Tampa Pro? I know it's been kind of a slow couple of weeks for open bodybuilding. There haven't been any open shows. There hasn't been much news when it comes to open bodybuilding. But Tampa is the next big one on the menu. Let me know what you guys think. What are your predictions? And as always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon if you have not already. And as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.